Hello, this is Kara from Kara Tarot. I'm doing a combined hashtag video of hashtag Deck of the Month, which I think is a response to Musings by Psche. I'm also doing decks for June and hashtag SMYHP, show me how you practice. Because I do think these end of the month wrap-ups do give people a good concept of how your practice, or at the very least what you're interested in. I will say, you find me looking frazzled. It's June. June was June. It was a rough month. It was the last month for my students. I began the month trying to prepare music that I was going to play for the student recital, and then I re-injured my arm worse, my shoulder. I can barely lift my arm. This is from my senior caregiving, from having to lift my mother so much every day. It's better than it was. It's starting to get a little better again. It's just a cycle of hurting one arm or the other arm, or hurting my back, and it's just, you can know what you're doing, but when you have to wake up in the middle of the night and lift somebody right away, it's fraught. And then it's been a very bad time for my lungs. So when I hurt my arm, that knocked me out for picking up anything for the recital, because I can barely lift my arm at all, much less play. And one of my favorite students is graduating. I'm very happy for her. She's going to go to engineering school to literally be a rocket scientist. She's a wonderful, impressive gal. But I'm losing her as a student. So, and my other student is not quite ready, so we pushed everything back. We'll be doing their recitals on recording later this week. And right now it's 3 harp students, and I'll be picking up a new one in the spring, in the fall. What year is it? So anyway, I just wanted to start by saying, this was not made for heat. Give me 8 months of snow with a fire in the fireplace and whale blubber to keep my skin moist. That's what this was made for. It's been 90 degrees. It actually was close to 100 degrees earlier in the month. It's been awful. We went straight from wall of mosquitoes when you went outside to high heat and humid. So it's like stepping inside of a dog's mouth when we walk outside right now. Not for me. Not for me. And I live not too far from the beach, but I'm not a beach person either, because I burn. I've had several instances of being sunsick since my youth. So I'm a mess. Goodbye, June. But I'll do the wrap up. So this actually was the deck that I started at the end of May, but because it was just a couple days, this was from my May theme. And the Zillich tarot, the beautiful watercolor, Toth-based Zillich tarot. I've had multiple discussions. This is a larger size deck. I found it one place online. I thought it was legit, and now it probably wasn't, but I still love it because I didn't want the mini version. I like large decks, and so as I said, I thought it was legit. It still has all the US game stuff on it, but there are other. So normally that would mean I toss it, but I'm not going to in this case, because I really love this artwork, and at the mini size just wasn't ever going to do it for me. And I used that. These were my weekly pairings, alongside another very watercolory deck, the Radiant Tarot, which is Tarot de Marseille based, and so bright and beautiful. Some people don't like it because it does have some animal heads on people bodies. That's something I personally love. I actually, when I was doing fashion illustration, I did some of that myself. So one of the most beautiful cards, yeah, in this deck. So as I said, that was, I think, finalizing the previous month. And then this month, as I go back and look at, what was I thinking? Why did I pick those? Oh, I will say, everyone has raved about the Radiant Tarot book. I only barely glanced at it. As I said, this has been a really heavy load month. And everything is pressed down. And then we do have some caregiving help, but they've had lots of days off because of family issues. And it's been a hard month. So doing daily work with decks was a challenge, but it was something that I almost every day carved time out for. I might have missed one day a week when I just couldn't get to it. So that was my last deck, and from the previous month. And then I started off this month with this was kind of a random deck month. It was random decks that I really want to work with that I haven't worked with for a while. As I said, my rotation is kind of based in, I want to remain fresh. I do have a large collection. I want to maintain my freshness with reading all the different decks. And it's also interests me. I get bored easily and it challenges me. So the gorgeous Botticelli Tarot. Many of these decks I've highlighted in VRs. I did a lot of VRs this month. And while I enjoy watching them and I enjoy doing them, sometimes they can feel like a job, an unpaid job. And I did, you know, I like a deck when I edge it. I don't edge a whole lot of decks. But wow, doesn't that look nice, edged in black. Cha, cha. And I paired this with the Friar's Delight Lenormand, one of my newer decks. This is a medieval themed Lenormand deck with a black background, so I just felt that it paired nicely with this. And then the back is quite golden and the edges are gilded. I don't usually record this way because I'm a klutz, and I'm actually not usually a klutz. People usually think I'm very graceful but when I try to do something like this, I do end up being a klutz. I just drop everything all over the place. So the Friar's Delight Lenormand from Rabbit's Moon. Rabbit's Moon Tarot. It's been a month of missteps. I got all of my glasses redone, but I simply forgot that my normal prescription was bifocals, because I also have separate reading glasses for the harp, because that's a specific distance. So I got all my glasses redone, but only with my long distance vision. So I spend all of my time doing this now. Because I was nearsighted initially and I can still read. But that's just like, it's been a period of missteps. And I do know it has to do with the stress of caregiving and 24-hour a day caregiving and my own health issues and juggling those. So grumble, grumble, gripe, gripe. The next grouping, this was the Elemental Tarot. Bright, bright, bright. Bright colors. I like bright colors. The Elemental Tarot. I love the artwork of these two. And because this was my fourth deck, I've mentioned that for a long time I only had 3 decks. And then this was my fourth deck. Oh, nudity. This was also the month of nudity in my decks. And I got a hit on my channel for nudity for the cover of the Mushroom Oracle because it was on the title card. And so they said they were going to take it down. They didn't take it down. I changed the title. I think I changed the title card. But they kept the hit on my, so I'm feeling really like I have to be really careful. Lots of nudity in this deck. Even it's stylized nudity. I mean, but all the parts are there, if you know what I mean. In the variety of sizes and shapes. So the Elemental Tarot. Carolyn Smith and John Astrop. I love the artwork of this deck so much that I went ahead and got the other 2 decks that I know of by them. The Moon Oracle I paired with this when I was working with it. So, and now I wasn't using it the way it's supposed to be used. The Moon Oracle is split into 3 groups of cards. As you might expect, a portion of them have to do with the cycles of the moon. And they're broken up into 4 sets. I think it's 4 sets. Maybe more, maybe 6. But each one of the segments, the crescent, waxing moon, waning moon, first quarter, last quarter, full moon, new moon, each one of them has a certain number of cards that also have a text meaning that goes with them. So I used that. There are a group of goddess cards. I think that one's, she's still nude, but she's basically benign as far as not showing anything. The goddess cards, and then there are a group simply of the last set are, trying to find one of them, are just oracle cards. Almost like Lenormand cards. There's one, Palace. Cassia, a tarot map, has 2 excellent videos, a complete walkthrough of this, and then a very detailed showing how you practice with this deck, where because she's an astrologer, she's actually using these moon phases to do in-depth readings, monthly readings, I think, with this deck. It's fascinating. I may never say never, but I may never work with it that way. I tend to work with it like an oracle card, and fortunately it's set up so that you can do that. That's one thing I've said about this deck, is that even though the visuals are so different from traditional Rider-Waite-Smith, and my phone clicked off, the minors have Egyptian glyphs, symbols. They all have planetary symbols on the upper left of the card. And then the majors have, some of them are renamed, but they're obvious as to what they are. And then they all have two lions. They have 2 lines of a poem, and it's all from the same poem, which I think is Egyptian also. But what I was getting to with this is that even though it's all set up with all those different layers, it's readable simply as straight Rider-Waite-Smith. And this is what I love about their decks, is that they have a very complex system, and they have a specific way that they were thinking of it being used, but it's usable in a much simpler way. And the same thing with this, the Moon Oracle. I did also get their, or I think it's called the Oracle of the Radiant Sun, which I will be going through in another video. The artwork in that is a little different. These are stylistically, the artwork matches very well. The artwork in the other one is a little more Baroque. And I just came across a wonderful video by Moon Rain, who I think is a fairly new channel, detailing, I mean, talk about show me how you practice. She details how she does readings with, she also is into astrology, more of an astrologer, and she details how she does the readings with that radiant sun, excuse me, Radiant Sun Oracle, and I've never, and it's marvelous. It's really so informative and looks doable. The way she explains it, it doesn't look so difficult that it would be beyond a mere mortal who has just a passing knowledge of the signs. My next week was another week fraught with nudity. Nudity issues. Maybe I should have an alert on this month. June and nudity issues. But not this deck. This marvelous Lasenic tarot. It is from, oh, it says it on here somewhere, 1940 Renewal Edition. This is from a company called Pyroskin in the Ukraine. I first saw this on Laetitia Barbier's Instagram. I follow her. I think she's brilliant. It's a Tarot de Marseille. All of the majors have black backgrounds, and it's in this 1940s advertising pop art style, which is I just adore. And the bright colors, it's on this butter yellow background, and they feel as creamy as they look. And it's not rose petal. It's it might be what some people call soaped, because it slides very well. I don't really know what soaping is. Somebody can explain that to me maybe, or point me to a video about it. But it's just kind of buttery, creamy feel, so they feel wonderful. They're not particularly large. I think they're kind of regular tarot size, but a little shorter. And then there goes our wacky alarm clock that doesn't strike the right number of hours. This is what it's like living in the home of somebody who's 101, who doesn't want to get rid of the things, even though they're broken. So the Lasenic was one of my weekly tarot decks. And then I wanted to pair with it the Amor and Psyche Oracle. And I tried for a couple days, and then I just realized the way that I like to use my Oracle decks within the week on my Instagram usually means I'm using 5 or 6 cards a day. And they're the majority of these. This isn't supposed to be a sexual deck. I mean, that's what it was intended to be. the beautiful artwork of Georges Barbier, who was also a fashion illustrator, and that's how I know him. And but apparently he was also known for these more provocative artworks. So I had to say, okay, I'm going to accept this deck for what it is, and I'm going to accept the fact that I can't use it on Instagram, which means it will largely fall out of my rotation. However, it would be a good deck for couples. It would be a good deck for couples, certainly for private cards that I wanted to put up in my bedroom. That would be fine, a one-card pull, weekly pull or something like that. But it's going to severely limit what I do with it online. And so since I came to that, then I wanted something else to pair with this. And I went to the Tea Leaf Fortune cards. This, if you don't know this deck, it's a deck of 200 little round cards, very lightweight paper. And I think they're a lot like Lenormand cards, frankly, but they're just a ton of them. They're very slippery. So, you know, there's one yoke. So they have a very direct meaning. I did eventually find a video by the creator, one video on YouTube made with someone interviewing her, but she demonstrates how she works with them, and she lays them out in a large triangle shape. And then the reading is quite a lot like a Lenormand reading, although it's done in the triangle shape. And she incorporates other aspects of tea leaf reading in terms of shapes that may be formed by a group of cards. So that's a fascinating tool. I haven't used it that way yet. I use it in much the same way that I use Oracle cards or Lenormand cards. And it's been fine for that. And that's, you know, love that. As I said, love a deck that you can just use in a simple way. And then if you eventually want to get into their more esoteric system, you can. And now I'm to the decks that I'm using this week. My beloved Dali Terra, which I edged, and there is so much of this shade of blue in it. This was a present that I asked for, and it's been a surprise. I love it. I love collage decks anyway. And this was early collage. Certainly it wasn't done the way they're done now, but he combined pieces of more older, established classical artwork with his own unique style and his own unique elements. So it is this wonderful combination of traditional and woo-woo. And and I love it. And I said, this could very well be, and it was a shock to me to realize it, if I could only grab one deck, if the house was falling down and I could only grab one deck on the way out the door, this might be the one. Of course, I really like the guidebook for this too, so that would be another story, because the guidebook is humongous and not very friendly in that regard. Paired with that, I have a Colette Barton Reed Oracle, The Wisdom of the Oracle, which many of you will know. I got this because it's collage, it's surreal, and I do like those. My jury is, I'm early in the week and working with this, but my jury is still out on this. Some of the images I really like, And I don't know. I don't know what my problem is with it. It's fine. It has worked well in readings. It invariably, anytime I usually pick one oracle card to cap my tarot reading. If you watch my daily readings online, if I'm going to use an oracle card, that's what I use it for in a reading. And the ones that I've picked have just been bam. They've been right in line with the rest of the reading. They've completely synthesized what that reading was about. So I like that. And I think the thing is, right after I got this, I saw another one of her decks, which I just felt I liked a lot better. I was in a group where we were posting one card a day, and a person was posting it, and that deck, and every single day I was like, oh, I love that card. Oh, I love that card. So I think it was right after I got this, and I just realized this may not be the one. This may not be the deck of hers that is the best for me. But it also, the colors pair very well with this deck, with the Dali Tarot. As most of you know, on my monthly, or more than monthly, I do a scripture card and a general affirmation card. I'm doing that on YouTube now. I've transitioned that from Instagram to YouTube, simply because it was easier to verbally record it than it was for me to retype all of that into my tiny little phone. And I honestly think that's part of the problem with my shoulder, is editing, and right there when I lift my hand like that. So it's a cumulative thing, and that's the problem with all of the arm injuries that I've had for several years, even before I had to lift my mother, is that they're all cumulative stress injuries. So it's not just that I hurt my arm knitting, it's that I re-injured it lifting groceries, and then I hurt it washing dishes. And the same thing with this. This is, where I'm using the cell phone, but it's also where the pressure is when I lift her. And so it's just, it feels insurmountable sometimes. As I said, we have a team of people, physical therapists and nurse caregivers, that have a variety of experience, and none of the solutions are very good for the specifics of our situation. Oh, so anyway, my spirit for my scripture card, I continue using the book, The Contemplative Tarot by Brittany Muller, and I'm using my beloved Giovanni Vacchetta Tarocchi, Naibi, di Giovanni Vacchetta. This is an Il Meninghello version. There are less expensive versions. I think one of them is called Tarot of the Masters. They're all beautiful. I just decided that I knew I loved this so much. So I'm using this for my scripture card, and I love this deck. I lost my train of thought. I'll keep it simple, because that's all the space I have in my brain right now. And for my general affirmation card, I'm using the glorious Tazama African Tarot. I've said before, this is heavy rose petal finish. It is sticky. I have to say, I'm not that, the only thing I care about in a card deck is the weight. I can't stand really thin cards that feel like they're going to bend if I hold them wrong, or if they knock corners that they're going to fold over on themselves. I don't like that, but so I don't mind if it's a heavy rose petal finish. I can still work with it. I think you can tell from the colors, even from a distance without seeing the details, that I would love this deck. And it's this combination of the history. I have waxed poetic about this deck in other places. It's a beautiful deck. It comes with a lovely box and guidebook. The guidebook is upstairs. So the guidebook is that size. Nice size guidebook. That's the basic guidebook. Online, they have a PDF guidebook that details where the pictures, the collaged pictures, are from, if they have the information of who those people were or who the illustrations were of, that's in there. So it's a beautiful deck. I have worked with it as well as doing this one card thing, and it's lovely to work with. It's very, very straightforward, Rider-Waite-Smith. So it's beautiful and it's lovely to work with. My monthly deck, I didn't even bring the cards down. The Borderless Rider-Waite-Smith. As I said, this is new to me. For years and years, I only had the giant Rider-Waite-Smith, and I still really like it. But especially since I'm doing more online, it doesn't fit on the screen very well. So this is smaller, and I love this. Again, the feel of these, if you have these, that's the feel of the Lasenic cards. It's a beautiful, just kind of buttery, creamy feel. And I like the backs of these a lot more. This is the green back with the flower. I like the backs of these a lot more than the picnic table print, tablecloth print on the giant. I think I now have 4 versions of the Rider-Waite-Smith. So that's how basic it is for me. It was my entree years and years ago. And that brings me to my reading. I've started reading this. I had grand plans that I would finish this book this month. Well, I've only gotten this far. That's the kind of month it's been. And I'm very shy about highlighting books. If it's one thing if it's a textbook, but for some reason in other books, I think I've done some underlining. I definitely believe in marking up your books. Let me tell you that. Right up, I had an English teacher tell me a long time ago, the book is yours. Do what you want with it. If you want to mark phrases, if you want to highlight phrases, that book is yours, and that's for you. And I love that concept. Still, I'm a little shy about it. But as you can see, I have my little system of, these are card layouts, and these are particular history things, I think, that those are different card definitions, because Waite went through different periods where he slightly defined the cards differently and had them in different orders. So this is kind of quick access for card definitions and various card definitions, and these are for card layouts. This book has a layout that Pamela Coleman Smith liked, and a layout that he suggested initially before they started just using the Celtic cross with this. They were using a cross that looked more like the Toth cross, and that's probably why they stopped using it once the talk came out. It's an engaging book. I will agree with the people who say it's uneven. It's written by two people, and it kind of feels as if it's written by two people. There's some sections that are so engaging, and you're just swept along, and then you're like, and you get to this section where you're like, you're trying to just plow through page after page, and then it goes, and then it goes off again. So I still consider it an engaging read. I'm loving it. And I'm sure it's also the parts of it that have to do with Pamela Coleman Smith and her theater friends. Well, I mean, I spent my life in the theater, so that's going to engage me more. And also the fact that now that I understand, I mean, how did I miss the fact that a lot of these cards are obviously set on a stage, where you have a person on a stage and you see the backdrop where it hits the edge of the stage. And like, now that I've seen that, I can't unsee it. And so then it's very interesting to see when that's there and when it's not. Which characters seem to be actually in their landscape, and which characters seem to be a character on stage. And little things like, to me, even as a child, I remember looking at the Six of Cups and thinking they looked like two small adults. They did not look like children to me. And the story in here is that that's actually a version of Ellen Terry playing a young child in one of the plays that she was in, and where she wore that kind of wig and costume. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, it came through. It always came through to me that they weren't really children. And it was interesting to me. There's the Luna Lapin deck where they're both rabbits. It comes through in that to me also. They don't look like babies. They look like small adults. So it's interesting to see those things, how they permeate even in different versions of the decks. So this has been my reading. Now, if you follow my channel, you know that I also was doing a deep dive into comparing to Etteilla decks, which I have an hour-long video about. And that involved looking up things in Benabel Wen's Holistic Tarot, Robert M. Place's third edition of his big alchemy and tarot tome, and Letitia Barbier's History of the Cards. So I am doing other reading and other VRs. So I guess it's not a surprise that I didn't get much of it. But so this is still my goal to finish for summer. So even if I'm not, Rider-Waite-Smith is one of the decks I always have out. And I know there are some of you who say you don't connect with the artwork. I will never, ever understand that. Although I should, because I loathed the original artwork of the Tarot de Marseille. I can't stand those old woodblock prints. I just don't like that style of artwork. So I get it. I get it. We don't all connect to everything, even if it is basic. And yet, even though I don't like it, I have some of those because they're basic and because I do always want to have access to study that original. So anyway, I always have one of these out. And the new one for me, I said in a VR recently, I want to spend more time with the Dame Darcy Queen Alice deck because I had showcased it in so many VRs and I hadn't used it. Of course, I mean, I had done a deck interview spread, but I mean, I hadn't been using it at all regularly. And so that's out. I don't keep many decks on my recording area. That's there. The Rider-Waite-Smith is out on my altar always. And the Scarab Dahlia is now always at my recording area. It is my me deck. I don't know where it is in my favorites. As I said, the Dali tarot would probably be, but it's it speaks so strongly to me. It's like I can't put it away. And that's a deck that was new to me also. Fairly new to me anyway. And it's been surprising for that reason, that I feel such an ease. It's a really Two of Cups deck for me. That's it. It's just instant affinity, instant understanding. The visuals make complete sense to me. It's a very deep and full understanding on a core level. So those are my, I think that's all my decks for, I'm closing it. I'm surprised it's been this fast. I don't usually get through this quickly. I have been ordering up a storm, and I don't feel bad about it. It's one of my innocent pleasures, I would say. I did have a talk with myself today. I said, I really do think of these in terms of books. I would not feel, if I had gotten 100 books in 6 months, I would not feel that that was a bad thing, because I look at these also like books and said, even if I don't read it this year, it's going to be there for me to read next year. So even more than a collection, that's why I think of them more as a library, but libraries have collections within them, and I have that too. Percy hears me talking out here, and so she's woofing, and I put her out there because this is the time of night she wants to force me to play with her, and she just at me, which is okay if I'm not recording, but it would be problematic while I'm recording. Because she is still, she's not 3 yet, so she's officially still a puppy. For Great Dane, they have a long, long adolescence. So I was saying I've been buying a lot of decks, and so I've been doing a hashtag last 10 decks, and I've done almost every month, 10 a month. It's winding down, I say, but I'm not sure. But there definitely are decks now that I'm like, okay, I got a really inexpensive version of the Etteilla, more original Etteilla deck, the Dussert Grimaud Etteilla, specifically for that side-by-side comparison and to help me study a little bit more about the Etteilla deck, because I really love the Lo Scarabeo version of it. And so that was a really cheap version from Walmart, and I got that just for that, and now I'm ready to just give it away to somebody. I have no interest in working with that deck. I have now done the work that I wanted to do with that deck. So maybe at one point I'll do a video of the decks I'm ready to get rid of, because I either don't work with them, or they don't speak to me, or I hate them. Should I say that though? I hate this deck. Want to buy it? Oh, which reminds me, and this, okay, Debbie Downer, this is me at the end of a video. I'm trying to frame this positively, but I can't. I'm aware that this, showing a collection, having a safe place to live, to do these videos, especially right now, this is a privilege in the world where so many people have had their homes bombed, where people are going through what they're going through in Ukraine and in Gaza. People are going through actual genocide, and you know, the organizations that decide that it's genocide have said it's genocide. And so to be able to do a video about a library collection of tarot cards, on one hand, I feel sometimes that it's tremendously out of touch. But on the other hand, and this is, you know, I do keep doing them, it's sharing joy. And for those of us who, and we need our moments of joy. But I really feel remiss to not do a wrap up without talking about the immense privilege of having a home that for now is safe. I mean, here in the United States, we don't know. I mean, the things that are being done within 3 or 4 years are going to decimate our country, decimate the health and the finances and the welfare of our people. But for now, I have a place to live, to take care of my mother. I have the ability to just, randomly collect a deck I don't particularly like, except that I want to study it next to another deck. And so I just want to, I don't even think it's Debbie Downer. I think it's Debbie Serious. Susan Serious. Or Galatea Grateful. I don't want to stop without mentioning my gratitude for this. Is being able to do this is very much a Nine of Pentacles place to be, and it's probably part of why I identify with that card so much right now. It's this immense gratitude for what I have and what I'm able to share right now. And for those of us in our community that also have that and are able to, gratitude for you, and grateful that you have that safety, and that we can keep on finding ways, however small, to try to continue fighting. Bless you all. Thank you.